Hello and welcome to the Republic Positive Influencer Show with me, Tanvi Sood. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to take you through some fantastic content put together, curated by our influencers. Some of it is very inspirational, some of it is very informative. Some lessons we've packed in on leadership, some lessons we've packed in from the Gita. Before I get to it, if you think you can be a Republic Positive influencer, no matter the genre, the number is on your screen. WhatsApp us your video or head over to www.republicpositiveinfluencer.in and drop that video sample. Now let's get right to the content. Kicking off this episode is Poornima Kotak, India's first leadership branding coach. Now, Poornima has been in boardrooms, she's had a full-fledged corporate job, and now she's training budding leaders to take charge of the kind of leader they can be to actually inspire the next generation. Punima Kotak in this next video touches upon a very, very important aspect of leadership, which is language. What is the kind of language a leader needs to use to inspire and take a team along? At a time that language wars has become a political slogan in many pockets of the country, Poornima stresses on the importance of language being a unifier and a pivotal part of leadership. Watch this video, upskill, and hit that Monday being a better leader.
माफी करा आणि त्यांना बोला मराठीमध्ये पण मी समोरची मराठी बोलतो ना तो पण त्याला पण बोला मराठी
सगळं बोल चल मराठीत बोल बोल ना
अरे बोल काय बोलला
घेतली होती सांग
बोलला ते बोल
कस्टमरला पिकअप केल्यानंतर तुझी ट्रीट कशी होती
A language is a bridge and not a barrier. Namaste, my name is Punima Kotak and I'm India's first leadership branding coach. Today, let's talk about language wars versus leadership wisdom. A language is a bridge and not a barrier. In a country racing to become the third largest economy, what kind of leaders will take us forward? Those who divide people by dialects, or those who use language to build trust, build bridges, win hearts, and unite a billion dreams? Here's what I've been seeing over and over in boardrooms and on the ground. Here are some excuses that wannabe leaders hide behind. Let's look at number one. I don't need to learn your language. You speak mine if you want to. This is not confidence. This is pure arrogance showing up. Number two, why struggle? There's so much effort to learn a new tongue. This just comes across as laziness, a sure way to repel people. Third, oh, I'm not going to be in the city forever. Maybe a year or two, maybe max 4-5 years. Why should I bother to learn another language? Now, that's a leader who's never going to be future ready. 4, they already speak Hindi or English, they understand me, I'm understanding them, and I'm very comfortable. That's comfort disguised as stagnation. 5, my culture and my language and the place where I come from is obviously superior to any other state or culture in the country. Now, this is the problem area. Here's where ego takes over, language wars begin, and leadership branding collapses even before it starts. Let me share my story with you. I come from South India, where those days while I was growing up, there was barely any exposure to Hindi. As a teen, I challenged myself to learn new languages, particularly Hindi, that was not very visible in the South. Through songs on the radio, that one weekly movie on television, those days there was Doordarshan, and broken conversation with friends, my learning was on, and I was on the path to learning this language. When I spoke to my friends in broken Hindi, I did get ridiculed initially. But when once they saw that I was serious in learning the language, they truly helped me. Later, when I entered the corporate world and began traveling all across the country, I pushed hard to polish my Hindi so that I could truly speak to people and connect with them in their language. And because of this, I got to train across the country in multiple languages. When I rose to national level leadership roles in my corporate career, connecting to people wasn't just my skill, it became my brand. Audiences opened up, trusted me more, remembered me years later, just because I tried to speak a few words in their tongue. They felt seen. That's how I earned respect, credibility, and lifelong bonds. The truth is, a leader who embraces languages, cultures, and people expands. A narrow minded leader stays trapped in their own comfort zone, never becoming a visionary, a mentor, or a legacy builder. Leadership isn't about being the loudest voice in one language. It is about becoming the most trusted voice across many. So I ask again, what new language are you going to learn this year to lead more powerfully, more inclusively, more like the leader India's future deserves? I want you to think about this and make sure you write your answer in the comment box. So this is Punima Kotak, India's first leadership branding coach. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Let's get real. We're all really stressed out. Some of us know our symbols and our signs that our body or our mind gives us when we're stressed out. Some of us don't, and we suppress it, and it plays out in many, many different ways. But as a country, we are getting more stressful, our lives are getting more hectic, our minds are getting more cluttered. Now, there's no running away from it, but there's a way to cleanse your mind. There's a way to keep out the negativity. There's a way to run on that treadmill and run the marathon. Now, to tell us how to do this is positive influencer Shishir Arya. He was here a couple of weeks ago for an event on the Republic Media Network campus, and here's his video in terms of what you need to do to cleanse the mind, to cleanse the negativity, and keep up that positivity.
इन दिनों अखबार में हर रोज you will notice at least one news item is dedicated to uncovering someone's suicide story.
Rising suicide cases.
3 suicides in just 5 days.
Recently released figures show a 10% increase in suicides last year.
In fact, while the country mourns the crash of one single plane, the number of deaths by suicide is equivalent to 2 plane crashes each day. 2 plane crashes. Why is this happening? वैसे तो बहुत कारण है, पर एक direction is given to us by scientific studies that seem to indicate there is some reasonable correlation between how suicide rates have spiked and how stress levels have increased over the past several years. Relationship stress, academic stress, financial stress, health stress, and the list goes on. And while several of these stresses are understandable, एक interesting observation ये भी है if we look around ourselves, our surroundings, 2 people who may have the same stressors in life do not usually carry the same level of sadness. Think about the doodh wale bhaiya or the press wali auntie or a delivery boy that delivers to your home, and you would know someone who, despite being in more difficult circumstances than you or I are, always greets us with a smile wider than ours. Why? ऐसा होता क्यों है? That's because एक लेवल की डिफिकल्टी के आगे stress is more than just what happens to us. It's what we make happen to ourselves. आप ये शायद जानकर सरप्राइज होंगे कि साइंस में स्ट्रेस को जांचने का जो सबसे पॉपुलर स्केल है, उसका नाम स्ट्रेस स्केल नहीं है, उसका नाम है परसीव्ड स्ट्रेस स्केल. परसीव्ड, नजरिया. And something seems to have shifted in the way we have started to perceive life these last few years. Despite being in probably one of the most prosperous of times, we are probably also in perhaps the most unhappy times. Almost all of us know someone who's suffering from huge stress or mental health concerns. तो हमारे perception को ऐसा क्या हुआ है? Why has it become so significantly negative? Once again, reasons are many. But one interesting data point from this past 10 years is that the daily social media usage, especially among youth, has almost tripled. As per some reports, what was once 1 to 2 hours a day back in 2015, up now has skyrocketed to 5 to 7 hours a day. So how is this relevant? For one, because youth constitutes the biggest chunk of suicides in India, and studies globally have revealed that social media usage is directly linked to occurrences of mood disorders and depression. But more interestingly, studies ये भी बताती हैं कि social media algorithms have been made to exploit the mind's proclivity towards the negative. आप खुद याद कीजिए लास्ट टाइम आपको किसी ने अप्रिशिएट किया हो या किसी ने क्रिटिसाइज किया हो, तो which of the two stuck in the mind for longer? Which did you engage for a larger period of time? If you are like most people, the mind stays engaged with thinking about criticisms and the negatives way more than it does appreciations and positives. Usi tarah, every time a youngster is scrolling on social media, looking at a friend's selection in a college or a cousin's foreign trip, instead of feeling positive and inspired with them, the mind starts to feel negative about one's own life. This negativity becomes a breeding ground for more negativity. And slowly but surely the mind drowns in the pool of self-generated toxicity. तो इस self-generated negativity spiral से मन को निकाले कैसे? निवारण क्या है? Of course, एक चीज़ जो हर कोई कहता है कि मिजरी का जो सोर्स है उसी को कम कर दो, फ़ोन का कंजम्पशन कम कर दो. बट बियॉन्ड दैट केवल फ़ोन ही नहीं है जो तकलीफ़ और नेगेटिविटी का कारण है. इधर हमें अपने कैप्टन कूल MS धोनी एक सुझाव देते हैं. He says that any time he is pulled down into negative emotions, frustration, sadness, etc., he asks himself कि क्या ये इमोशन कंस्ट्रक्टिव है, क्या ये उनके ऑब्जेक्टिव को अचीव करने में मदद करेगा, और अगर नहीं तो he gets into the thinking of what needs to be done right now. अभी मुझे क्या करना है लक्ष्य की पूर्ति के लिए. And he says once he gets into that thinking, he starts to win over the negative emotions themselves. Or as Patanjali says in chapter 2 verse 33, Vitark badne pratipaksh bhavanam. When disturbed by negativity, cultivate the new thoughts that oppose that very negativity. Yes, in all fairness, suicide is a complex topic with several branches of causes. But one foundational answer to suicide is and will always be mind management. If you or someone around you can help the person in distress find newer thoughts, you can possibly help them escape the downward spiral of the mind. Because as the song says, मन के बहकावे में ना वो राह बुलाए भ्रम में डाले, तू इस मन का दास ना बन, इस मन को अपना दास बना ले. If the mind can become our greatest enemy, it can also become our greatest friend. Perhaps the most important education therefore we now need is how to live with our own minds, how to win the mind. If reflections like these resonate with you, you can find more such thoughts at my channel happiness_nuggets. Let us all work together towards winning all of our minds together.
Up next is positive influencer Shalini Modi. Shalini brings us the eternal story of Nayanar and his wife, a story of love, a story of devotion, and a story of unshakable faith. This is a narration that will make you believe that faith can go a really, really long way.
Namaste, I'm Shalani Modi, and today I will tell you the story of a Shiv Bhakt and his wife, Nayanar. They lived in the holy city of Chittambaram, where Shivji as Natraj resides. It's here that he does his Anand Tandav and Devi watches him. So these two prayed to Lord Shiva, lived a holy life dedicated to each other. They prayed to Shivji and called him Thirunilkanthan, someone with a blue throat, who lives in the world with the wish that it has to offer. One day, the man gave in to his pleasures of the body and slept outside the marriage with other women. His wife did not like this, and when he tried to touch her one day and made some physical advances to please her, she told him not to do so in the name of Thirunilkanthan. She used the word Emai, which
Next up is positive influencer Roma Abhyankar. Roma spends a lot of time and energy in terms of translating the Gita and making it relevant and stories relatable to our current generation. Now, Roma in this next video gives you 3 simple yet very effective steps to cleanse your mind, to reconnect with yourself before you hit that Monday. Watch this.
On your day off, you often plan to sleep in a little extra. And while you have this plan, it's most often interrupted by someone ringing the doorbell, by people honking outside the window, or by people playing loud music. And that means goodbye to sleeping in late. You ask yourself, why can't everyone just be quiet for 30 minutes? Quiet. Our inner self is always looking for this very quiet, this peace. And when you can't have it, your mind starts to get agitated. Is it possible to have this mental peace in today's ever-changing world? Let's find out. Namaskar. My name is Roma Abhyankar. And while we can't have mental peace at the tap of a button, like most things on our phone, we can pursue getting closer to this state of calm. Arjun had this very question for his mentor Sri Krishna. Who is a person with mental steadfastness? How can I be like him? Here's Sri Krishna's answer. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamano Atmanyevatmanastushtas Sthita Prajñas Tadochyate. What it means is when a person completely gives up on all desires of the mind and finds satisfaction in the self, by the self, he is said to be a Sthita Prajna, a person of steadfast wisdom. The word to note here is Sthita Prajna. Sthita is to be steady or firm, and Prajna is wisdom or intelligence. Sthita Prajna describes a person who has inner balance, someone not affected by the ups and downs of life. This is someone who's able to exercise detachment, so much so that he or she is free from motives or ego. This person has found their inner balance and doesn't work with expecting something in return. Instead of looking outward for validation, happiness, or fulfillment, they find content within themselves. Caught up in the whirlwind of daily responsibilities, is it possible for us to be a Sthita Prajna, this person with inner calm? It might need some work, but it is possible. Let's decode Sri Krishna's shlok and see 3 practical ways in which you can bring focus back on your inner self. First off, Sri Krishna emphasizes the importance of inner peace. When dealing with life's challenges, always choose to operate in a calm and controlled manner. If we are overwhelmed by negative emotions, we will lack clarity and reason. Take a moment, a pause before you react. The more calm you are internally, the more effective it will be to deal with the turmoil on the outside. For instance, next time someone comes to talk to you, be an active listener. Listening to someone not to respond but to understand them, their point of view, is an art. And this will enable you to respond with reason. Secondly, Sri Krishna tells Arjun to focus on self-realization. You can begin with cultivating qualities that help you stay grounded right from the get-go. For example, bring in more discipline to your life. It could be small things like waking up at a certain hour each morning to a balanced diet. Discipline helps keep impulsive behavior in check and you can resist temptation. Lastly, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna consistently guides Arjun and us towards establishing a value system rooted in dharma, courage, and clarity. Rather than living in fear and anxiety, our actions must be aligned to a sense of duty and also leave a positive impact on others. You never know who might be inspired seeing your dedication to your family or your passion for your work. Remember, if something isn't adding value to your life, it's definitely taking something away from you. And more often than not, it's taking away your inner peace. We'll want to avoid that as much as possible. Focus on the action and not what the action can do for you. In the Mahabharata, one comes across a person that might tick all the boxes for a Sthita Prajna. Any guesses? It's not Sri Krishna or Arjun or even Bhishma Pitama. It's Vidur, the paternal uncle of the Pandavas and the Kauravas and the prime minister of the Kuru kingdom. A tale retorts that Yam, the lord of death and justice in our Sanatan Dharma, was born Vidur in the mortal world. Turns out, being a Sthita Prajna might be the most underrated superpower. To walk the path of a Sthita Prajna is not to withdraw from life, but to rise above its noise. Peace is not the absence of noise, it's the presence of stillness. Dhanyavad.
Now we're all stuck in a hustle culture, aren't we? Endless to-do lists, endless goals, endless bucket lists, all to be crammed in within very short amounts of time. That's our present generation. Now Pratik Sharma, who is at the center of the corporate world, has an interesting dose of powerful message and very good words of advice. He takes on the hustle culture because he believes you shouldn't sacrifice your mental health, physical health or happiness at the cost of any dreams. Watch this before that Monday reset.
We are living in an era where the grind is glorified. You scroll through social media and you'll find people proudly declaring, rise and grind, no days off, sleep is for the weak. There's a hustle culture that's loud, shiny and addictive. Wake up at 5 a.m., stack routines, sacrifice everything, and maybe, just maybe, one day you will be successful. But can I be brutally honest with you? Hustle is overrated. Healing is the real flex. We live in a world that rewards productivity, even if it comes at the cost of peace. But let me tell you something the algorithms won't. You can't hustle your way out of your own brokenness. According to the World Health Organization, depression and anxiety are responsible for $1 trillion in productivity loss globally. That's not a small number. That's not a few people. That's millions burned out, emotionally exhausted, mentally depleted, chasing success at the cost of their own health. You know why this is scary? Because we have normalized it. We applaud the person who's always busy. We idolize those who don't have time for sleep. We romanticize burnout and call it ambition. And in the process, we forget that before you can lead others, you must lead yourself. Out of the darkness you've ignored for too long. Let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you sat with yourself in silence with no screen, no deadline, no one watching? When was the last time you checked in, not with your boss, not with your calendar, but with your own heart? We say we want to build something big, something great, but how do you build a skyscraper on a cracked foundation? You can't. Eventually, it collapses, and so do we. Healing isn't soft. Healing is work. It's crying when no one's watching. It's rewriting the narratives you have been told since childhood. It's forgiving yourself for not being perfect. It's choosing sleep over scrolling, boundaries over burnout, rest over regret. And that's not weakness, that's wisdom. So if you are watching this thinking, but I haven't achieved anything yet, I can't slow down now, I want you to pause. Not forever, just long enough to ask, am I building my dream or am I just running from my pain? Because there's a difference. And here's the truth. Most people won't tell you on these so-called motivational videos. You don't need to earn your worth through exhaustion. You are not more valuable because you skipped meals or missed your kid's birthday or straight up working while your body begged for rest. You are valuable because you exist. You matter even when you rest. You are enough even when you are still. You are powerful, not when you hustle blindly, but when you heal intentionally. The next generation of greatness will not come from people who burned themselves out to build empires. It will come from people who chose clarity over chaos, joy over just work, meaning over momentum. You were not born to grind yourself into dust for the sake of a title or a trophy. You were born to create, to feel, to love, to impact. And to do that well, you need to be whole. So take this moment today to shift your mindset. Instead of asking, what more can I do today? Ask, how can I feel more aligned today? Instead of asking, how fast can I go? Ask, how long can I last without breaking? It's time to redefine success not as speed but as sustainability, not as noise but as inner peace, not as hustle but as healing. Because the world doesn't need more tired achievers. It needs more lit up souls, people who know themselves, who have faced their pain and come out the other side with a heart wide open. That is the real flex. And if no one has told you this today, you are allowed to slow down. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to heal. And from that place, you will rise higher than hustle ever could take you. Thank you.
That's all we could pack in this week on the Republic Positive Influencer Show on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And of course, our content creators did in terms of putting it together. If you have some feedback, the WhatsApp number is on your screen. If you think you can be a Republic Positive influencer, head over to www.republicpositiveinfluencer.in and drop that video. Now, you don't have to be a professional podcaster or a domain expert. If you are, that's great. If you want to just converse about what kind of content we can build together, the WhatsApp number is on your screen. You can drop us a message and we'll get right back. Thank you so much for watching. I'm signing off. We'll see you next week.